Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well friends, outside of Joe Biden's dark Brandon speech, other than Joe Biden's Hitler speech, it's been a really rough week for liberals. There's been maybe 4 or 5 liberal outrage moments just in the last week or so, and it's largely because they just keep taking big fat L after big fat L. But probably the biggest L the Democrats are taking recently is the loss of CNN. I mean, who would have thought that the far left would lose their favorite news channel? Who would have thought that moving forward, CNN would become less of a laughingstock and more of a legitimate source? Still a little bit too early to tell, but of course, while most people are cheering on the reforms going on at CNN, as all the woke anti-Trump left-wing hacks are getting fired one after another, as most people are happy that the network is moving towards the direction of real news, leftoids certainly aren't happy at all. In fact, quite the opposite. They're kind of going nuts. CNN has decided to go more politically neutral. And you know what politically neutral means to these lefties? It means CNN is now an alt-right, extremist right-wing hub. CNN has now gone full fascist according to them. In other words, they've completely lost their mind. It's not exactly surprising. And we gotta do what we always do, delve into the very interesting phenomenon known as the liberal hive mind. We've got some stuff to get into, friends. So of course, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at this. Network-wide purge. CNN staffers panic as, quote, woke employees heads roll under new company chief. Employees at CNN are reportedly panicking as Chris Litch, the company's new chairman and CEO, is continuing to cut some of the network's most hyper-partisan leftist talent. Of course, they put the word talent in quotation marks. The Daily Mail reported that staffers of the far-left network, which is trying to become more nonpartisan, fear a network-wide purge of, quote, woke talent at the company. People are freaking out, one CNN journalist said. It almost feels like there's a pattern. Is there a purge going on? They seem to be sending a message, watch what you say, watch what you do. Oh no, we're supposed to feel bad for these left-wing hacks who have done nothing but inject venom into the political discussion for however many years. We're supposed to feel bad that they're finally being held accountable, at least to a certain extent. As if that's a bad thing. Watch what you say, watch what you do. I mean, yeah, that's kind of your job, to be a real journalist. That should be the baseline standard. What happened with John Harwood, where he said this on air.
These are not honest disagreements. The Republican Party right now is led by a dishonest demagogue. Many Republicans are rallying behind his lies.
Yeah, you know, as a journalist, there's supposed to be consequences for that kind of action. That's called unethical journalism. I mean, you literally went to school to learn all of these supposed rules. Not exactly sure what journalism school is teaching these days. Then you finally get your first job working at CNN. You work your way up, and you're surprised when you get fired for clear journalistic malpractice and lack of ethics? These entitled little snowflakes had it coming. I mean, the sheer audacity of these people. It's like I always say, if you want to do opinion and you want to be a political analyst covering topics from a particular side, you can open a Substack or a Twitter account or a YouTube account and say whatever you want. I mean, I do it every single day. I crap all over the left and I get paid for it. It's an awesome gig, and I could sleep at night like a little baby, knowing very well that I'm not a total hack, a journalist imposter like all of these folks at CNN. If you went to school for journalism and then got a job working in the corporate world of journalism, and then you act like a partisan psycho, you shouldn't be surprised when you get fired. And when the network starts going under and things like CNN Plus are the biggest failures in the company's history and frankly in news media history, when ratings are in the gutter, you shouldn't be surprised when new ownership takes over and tries to rebuild the basic credibility of your network. But of course, leftists are real surprised. In fact, they're not only surprised, they're absolutely outraged. Let's just say Twitter liberals are kind of losing their minds in response to what's going on at CNN. Dan Rather writes, what is going on at CNN? It's a serious question. There's a lot of speculation on directives and motives. What's really going on, and is it being noticed by the audience? Yeah, probably. Trump derangement syndrome isn't being pushed 24/7. The audience is gonna have to tune in to MSNBC to get their fix. Malcolm Nance response, I mean, just lovely characters, Malcolm Nance and Dan Rather. Treat hashtag CNN like hashtag Tesla. Let's hit them right in the MFing wallet. punish their shareholders for choosing a CEO who was brought in to betray America for Trump. Hashtag boycott CNN. Hit them right in their MFing wallet, Malcolm Nance says. Yeah, I think that's kind of the point. That's kind of the reason why CNN is making the change in the first place. Because what they're doing was no longer profitable. Pushing Trump derangement syndrome for 6 years straight, eventually it gets pretty old. And eventually people can see right through the disingenuous bullcrap that consumed the network for all of these years. That's kind of the point. Duty to Warn on Twitter writes, CNN is gaslighting us. There's nothing strange about a president having military guards. It's another attempt to create a Democratic scandal about nothing, while Republican traitors are free to destroy the country. Hashtag boycott CNN. CNN's Chris Cillizza said he thinks Republicans are favored to win the Senate, despite bipartisan polls showing Democrats favored to win the Senate. This is literally fake news coming from CNN, but worse, because they're actively suppressing the Democrat vote. Hashtag boycott CNN. This one right here is probably the funniest one. Jake Tapper, Jim Acosta, Aaron Burnett, Jim Scudo, Don Lemon, and Anderson Cooper should all walk off the job today. To which my immediate response is, yeah, I'm not exactly sure that Jake Tapper, Jim Acosta, and the rest of these fools are gonna need to walk off anything. I'm pretty sure CNN probably has a game plan moving forward already in the works to get rid of probably 90% of these guys, if not 100. I mean, let's be real here. If CNN is really going the direction of anti-woke and going towards a non-partisan angle, you think Jake Tapper, Jim Acosta, Anderson Cooper, and Don Lemon specifically are gonna last at the network? I'm pretty sure they're already in negotiations pertaining to the end of their time at CNN and the end of their contract. Leftoids are losing their mind, and speaking of losing, this might be one of the greatest signals that we have seen thus far, proving that lefties are losing the culture war. They're losing the culture war in the world of entertainment as woke TV shows and woke movies get canceled. They continue to bomb in the ratings, and people are realizing that it's no longer profitable to chase the woke crowd or to push feminist garbage as legitimate entertainment. They're losing on so many points of discussion and so many policy points. There is clearly a rightward trend, both politically and culturally, and the loss of CNN is possibly even an inflection point. I mean, who would have thought so soon that CNN would ditch the woke left? I mean, who would have thought that in the year 2022, and by the way, this is another thing that has leftists losing their minds, who would have thought that Donald Trump would release a public statement praising CNN over Fox News? Take a look at this. Wow, Fox News is really pushing the Democrats and the Democrat agenda. Gets worse every single day. So many Democrats interviewed with only softball questions, then Republican counterparts get creamed. Rhino Karl Rove is unwatchable, very negative, and on all of the time. He has a big record of losing. Not an easy place to be as a Republican, especially with all of the pervert purchased ads. If, quote, low ratings CNN ever went conservative, they would be an absolute goldmine, and I would help them do so. Could you imagine CNN becoming a Trump network or a Trump ally? I certainly can't imagine it, but hey, it's 2022 and crazier things have happened. Imagine Elon Musk buys Twitter and Donald Trump becomes the top guest on CNN. That would certainly be one for the history books. But of course, it's all in jest. It's probably not going to happen. The point is, leftoids are losing, and it's in their outrage. There's two specific things that make it very obvious that they're losing. One is outrage, one is desperation, and this is probably a mix of both. I mean, what is the left going to do to stop Donald Trump without fake news CNN? Just think about it. Could you imagine going back and redoing the 2020 election, except CNN is covering the news accurately and covering all the Joe Biden scandals, covering the Hunter Biden laptop, all the goofs and gaffes in the guy's melting brain? It would be a completely different timeline, and that timeline is exactly what Democrats are extremely fearful of. In a fair, leveled playing field, they don't win, and it seems as though they are on a losing path. Of course, that's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you're up for it. I'm gonna head back to work, friends. I want to thank you guys for watching, and of course, I will see you on the next one.